I'm quite new at the UOC, so maybe most of you don't know me. I joined the UOC 1 year ago, and I think this is a good opportunity for me to show you what we are doing with our research. So I study how humans learn languages. When I say humans, I mean both baby humans, so infants, and also adults. Infants, they learn their native language, and as adults, we learn second, third, or fourth languages, maybe. And the thing is that there are hundreds or thousands of studies looking at this process, but there are many things that we still don't know how they work. They are still a mystery, mostly cognitive aspects related to learning a language. We know that learning a language is a lot more than formal instruction. It's a lot more than going to a grammar class in English, for instance. And we know that it's more than learning the words of a language. That's what we call the technical term, that's the lexical semantics. And it's a lot more than learning how these words combine. That's what we call syntax. It also means learning the sounds of a language. And that's what we study. We study how humans learn the sounds of languages. Now imagine you are going to a research stay in a country where you don't know the language they speak. For instance, let's say you go to Russia. I hope you don't know Russian. So imagine you are at your first faculty meeting and they are all speaking in Russian and you don't have a clue of this language, but still you want to know a little bit how this language works. You want to try to understand what they mean. What do you think you'll use? Which strategies do you think you'll use? Which senses, body senses, do you think you'll use to try to pick up what they mean? So first, of course, you'll use your ears. You'll try to hear carefully to what they say. You'll try to pick up new sounds. You'll try to compare these sounds with the sounds you know from your native language. And you'll try to isolate words from the speech stream. So the acoustic channel is very important when learning new languages, non-native languages. But the acoustic channel, your ears, are not the only sense you'll use, because you'll also use your eyes. So sometimes we don't think about it, but our eyes are very important when we learn new languages. So now you are listening to me in my Catalan English, and you'll try to pick up what I mean by looking at how I move my body, how I move my hands. These body movements will tell you information about what I mean, the meaning. Now, if you want to pay attention at what I say, the sounds I produce, you'll probably look at my mouth, how I move my mouth. So the lip movements are very important when learning new languages. Why are so important, lip movements? Because when we look at somebody moving their lips in a native or a non-native language, our brain kind of creates a mental image of how this sound is produced. It tries to figure out how this sound is produced, and by looking at the mouth, we can kind of hear the sound in our brain. So that's why vision is also considered to be very important in language learning. Now, here comes our project that we are doing in collaboration with the University of Barcelona. And this project tries to look a little bit further and tries to figure out whether other senses are also involved in language learning. So the sense of touch, that's what we investigate. What's the contribution of the sense of touch in learning new languages? So we want to see whether touching a sound can also mean hearing that sound. So it's a big connection, but now I'll tell you why. So I don't know if you know this film. It's called The Miracle Worker. It's a bit old, from the 60s. In Catalan, it was translated like El Miracle d'Anna Sullivan. And it's a very nice film. In this film, there's a deaf, blind girl which cannot communicate with anybody, but she has a new teacher, and the teacher tells her how to communicate using her hands. So this girl will put her hands on the teacher's face like this, will touch her neck, and they will communicate with the hands. So through the tactile sense, this deaf-blind girl could communicate with everybody, and she actually became a very good communicator. She was giving lectures and everything. So the sense of touch can, we think, give you information about the new language. We also know that people with disabilities, like visually impaired people, they read through their hands. So they use Braille to read. So we know that there's a kind of link between touch and language, and in our project, we want to see whether touch can also give you information about the sounds of a language. So next to hearing and to vision, we investigate the sense of touch. So how do we do that? In our project, we are going to schools, so we look at children and also adults. We go to universities. And what we do is that we divide our participants in 3 groups. Some participants go to what we call an audio-only condition or group. That's the first image there on the left. And what they do is that they see a native speaker in English, and then they repeat. So what they get is acoustic feedback of what they are producing. They are repeating, and so they are hearing themselves when they are producing these new sounds. In the middle, you'll see another condition. That's a group of participants that are in an audio-visual condition, because they are looking at the native speaker on screen, and when they repeat, but maybe, I don't know if I'll hear. I'm very nervous, yeah? You can see my book. So you see a small mirror. They repeat, but at the same time, they are looking at themselves to a mirror. So they can have their acoustic feedback of what they are producing, but also the visual feedback of how they move their lips when they repeat. And then there's another condition in which they look at themselves on a mirror, they repeat what the native speaker is saying, but also we ask them to put their fingers on the lips to feel how they were moving their mouth when repeating. So there's an audio condition, an audio-visual condition, and an audio-visual tactile condition. And after this training, we compared whether they learned better or not, and in which condition. So our results show that there was a lot of individual variability. Some kids and some adults too, they learn more in the tactile condition. Some, they learn less in the tactile condition. So there was really a lot of variability. So we thought that this may be due to their cognitive abilities or their sensory abilities, and we are doing now a second step in which we want to try to solve this issue by using technology. We are developing a tablet or mobile app in which participants, they see on screen a native speaker, and this native speaker is moving the lips while speaking in English, and there are 4 gray dots that appear on screen. Participants, users, are asked to put their fingers on the gray dots, and then they become green, these dots. And then the native speaker starts moving the lips because she is speaking in English, and then users have to follow the lip movements of the native speaker. So we want to check whether by feeling how the lips are moving, they can also process these new sounds and create a mental image of how these sounds are produced. That's our hope. We still don't have results of this. We hope we have it in the future. In the future, we are asking money to extend this to populations with disabilities, blind people, visually impaired populations, and we want to see whether they will improve even more with this tactile feeling of how sounds are produced. At the end, we think that learning a language is not, as I said, a formal instruction task. It's a lot more, and all our body is involved when we learn language. It's what we call an embodied experience. That's a very cool term now, to use this embodied experience. And actually, the nice thing is that if we are aware of this fact, that we use all our body to learn a language, we can ensure that people which have different sensory abilities, different physical abilities, we can help them learning languages in general. And that's all. Thank you very much.